respect for me at all. And
Sorry.
that's
That's
okay.
okay.
And that, I might as well just not even bother because he much more appreciates Aunt Jamie's approach to him, period. And I said, okay, well, I pretty much spoke from the verses of everything that I've been studying and told him that, um, well, Jamie, matter of fact, it'd be better received from Jamie, especially since, we've had the issues that I've had to deal with myself and get better with. And I would rather she just explain to you what she observed.
Yeah.
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 So, I could see, I got nervous for a minute because I thought things may escalate into a bad situation, right? But he very, very impressively maintained his composure. And I mean, there was some, like, he asked Hayden some questions like, why do you feel like you need to do this? Why do you feel like you need to continue to do this, bud? In a very nice way, like just really trying to understand, where Hayden is coming from, asking him genuinely, not trying to like upset him or cause a fight, like just really trying to form some sort of understanding between the three of us in that moment. Like, bud, we got to get to the bottom of this. Why do you keep on doing this? And Hayden, he just literally was like, well, what I'm doing is too important in the moment for me to go downstairs and go to the bathroom. So I just pee in the cups in my room. I'm like, no, and we've had this conversation many a times. So I was like, you know what, bud, you're going to need to earn a major maintenance consequence for this, which he did. And he did it well. And he just told Lonnie, like, the way that I feel is that the way you talk to me about things and just take so long and you repeat yourself and blah, blah, blah. He's like, I just don't care. I don't care about what you're talking about. And I don't care about making you upset in the moment when I do something I know I shouldn't, because it's what's easiest for me right now. I just do what I want to do. And I know that that's not, what you want me to do, but I just really honestly don't care. And Lonnie and I was like, oh Lord, here we go. I thought this was going to turn into something terrible. And Lonnie was just like, he took a deep breath. He started tearing up. He was like, Hayden, I am so angry right now, but I just am not. I'm choosing to really hold it in and give this to God right now, Hayden. He's like, I am so upset with you, but I'm not going to be triggered or show how I'm feeling the way that I used to. I promised you that I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to do that. But he's like, I am just going to let you know right now what I'm going to choose to do from here on out is pray for you and pray for our relationship. And I'm glad that you told me the truth. For the first time in a very long time, you said the words that I knew, and you just haven't said it. You just simply don't care about my opinion, about our opinions, and you just want to do what you want to do. And at least you are saying that and you're admitting it. And Hayden, and he started crying, and he was like, okay, Uncle Lonnie, he said, I am sorry. I do know. I understand that, you came into this family with me and Aunt Jamie and Tristan and thought that you were going to be a dad figure to me. And I know I have made that hard. And he's like, I am sorry about that. And Lonnie said, thank you. And they both just, sat there and had some tears. And Lonnie told him, Hayden, I'm never going to stop loving you. I do love you very much. I still am always going to love you. I'm just going to choose. And he said, and obviously I haven't been what God intended for me to be for you. And I have had a part in our relationships, the separation that we have had. And I am really sorry for that. And I hope you can forgive me. And Hayden said, I do forgive you. And he said, and Lonnie said, okay, well, I forgive you fully, Hayden. And I'm just going to give our relationship to God from here on out. And I am not going to be saying anything to you about the things that you do outside of the fact that I'm just going to enforce what Aunt Jamie says. I'm going to talk to her about enforcing, the rules and things that we want done in our home. And if I see you disrespect her directly, then obviously I'm going to correct that. But outside of that, I'm done having these battles with you completely. And Hayden was like, okay. And that was pretty much, we talked for a couple more minutes. He got his consequence and he stayed up that night and did his whole consequence. He had to clean his room from top to bottom, wash the walls, shampoo the carpets, take everything out of his room, do the whole shebang. And he did it. He stayed up and did it the whole night and just, clean. So, that was that. So I felt like it was a major win for both of them.
Oh yeah, sounds very, very awesome.
So what
My
happened?
concern with him, go ahead, John.
No, you go.
No, you go.
My question is, what happens when you pour footers for a building? You set those walls on those footers, you put the floor in, put all the drywall up, you have this beautiful building. And one of those footers start to crack. What happens to that building?
Yeah, it starts to crumble and we're rebuilding a foundation now in a better way.
Mhm.
I was taking it from a different perspective. Hayden has so
That's
many
good.
walls built up.
Mm,
And when he says, I don't care, that kid cares.
he
just
does
doesn't,
care. I
he
know
doesn't know how to.
Yeah.
And that, Lonnie, your response to him put a crack in his footer.
Yep.
Mhm.
Which is
That-
great. You gotta crack the foundation to tear down those walls.
And you know what? It might take a while more for that building or walls that he has around himself that he's built over the years. It might take a while for them to all crumble down, but just like the Bible says, don't give a devil a foothold. All we need to do is get that crack where God can get a foothold.
Yep.
And start to move. And you, Lonnie, are responsible for that breakthrough because you decided this is how I'm going to act. This is how I'm going to react or not react. And tell me what you gained from that, Lonnie, in that moment with Hayden.
Well, I've the last few days, I go to work and I'm gone. I've been gone lately for so long at work because things have been so crazy, with trucking lately. So I'm gone many hours and all I've done is think about it. And what it's done for me is it's literally made me feel like I have control over myself in situations that I can't change. I can't force. I cannot influence. There's a lot of things that we come across in life that just naturally fall into place and it feels great. But there are certain things that will just literally flow against the grain. And no matter what steps we take, it just doesn't seem to work out. And it's been a huge struggle for me because I love kids every kid around me, I would say, but Hayden, I have the most utmost relationship with them, so much fun. They love me
Mhm.
to death. And it's a hard pill to swallow that this has been so much of a challenge that I just dug into the word on the road and really meditated on everything I've already read. And it brings a lot of things into focus for me that, you know, there's going to definitely be things that you just cannot penetrate that only God's going to be able to do it, and you have to stand out of his way
Mhm.
to make that happen. No matter how much you want to keep your own resume going in the way that it with
Mhm.
people, and things that you handle in your life. I mean, I don't know. It really made me think about a lot of stuff. It made me think about the things that I went through as a kid. It made me think about how I've approached everything in life. And, literally, I was just like, wow. And then I started, for some reason, getting this wash over me and this feeling over me like, this isn't anything that you need to be sad about. This isn't anything you need to be upset about, because through all of it, I'm realizing that it's not all Hayden that's being worked on. It's me as well.
I'm going to say,
I mean, I got like literally got this feeling where I was almost floating in the truck saying, wow, I've been able to handle so much in my life. And this situation or situations like it in the past with grown adults that, reading in the word, I shouldn't have handled the way that I did. And maybe it would have been even better if I had,
Mhm.
you know. I don't
well,
know. It's humbling.
yeah, yeah. And you said something about you've handled everything. That's not what God really has for us. There are things we are to handle. But sounds like to me, in a sense, God's saying, hey, Lonnie, when are you going to trust me to jump in here and help? And he's now developing you into that. Let me tell you something. I was going to save this until the very end. I've got a word for Lonnie. Jamie, you might need a seatbelt too. But God is doing something with Lonnie. I'm telling you. He's
I
doing
know it.
something with Lonnie. Lonnie, I want you to remember this. If God takes me home tomorrow, never forget what I'm about to tell you. He's developing you into something greater, probably something you have no idea. But he's developing you because there is a powerful call on your life from men. And I want you to remember that. And this, what you're dealing with right now, is your training course in a sense. So buckle up, buddy.
I
That's
agree.
about the word I have right now. And if God gives me anything else, I'll say it. I don't want to ramble and put words in God's mouth. All I'm telling you is he is cultivating a environment for you to take you where he wants you to go, and you're going to be used powerfully. And that's all I
sorry, John.
have. That's okay. That's all I really have. So I am encouraging with that, because you don't get to be a powerful minister, a powerful leader without going through some junk.
Amen.
But I saw it in you a week or two ago, the last time we met, 1 or 2 times ago. And I hear you now, and I'm like, yeah, man. So know that there's something in the future for you that God is preparing you for. And keep on going, buddy. Just keep on being diligent. Like Paul talked about that. He's running the race, and our race stops at the finish line when we take our last breath. But he also has to be trained. And you're in that training mode right now, but God's going to do something with you. I'm telling you, I'm incredibly confident. There's something going on. So just be ready, my friend. All right, Tanya, over to you.
I was just gonna say that, don't think because you're like, oh, but I've so screwed up so much. How could I possibly move into anything besides just survival mode? But I have been in that position to where I've made a lot of mistakes when it comes to my kids. I mean, shoot, the enemy attacked me this morning with the memory of something stupid I did as a mom. And I'm like, no, I am not going to fall for that condemnation, because everything is okay now. And yes, that's who I was, but I have come so far, and that was just nothing but Satan putting it in my head. It just come out of nowhere, and I'm like, not happening. But God will still use you, and I still struggle with that. How can God use me? But my son shared something on Facebook the other day about how God used all the messed up men and women of the Bible. Thomas was a doubter,
Paul was a
there were
murderer.
cheaters and liars and murderers and all that. But God, it's almost like he only used the messed up people, because you didn't really hear about too many people being perfect and him using them. So to me, that says a lot, that he is working through you to become a better man, so that you can not only help Hayden and be an example for Tristan, but it's going to help you in life. Who knows what you're going to come up against after the boys are grown. Who
Yeah.
knows?
And I think what she said, Lonnie, is you're one messed up dude. That's what I heard her just say.
No. But what I was
No.
going to say earlier, whenever you all were talking about Hayden, is, the main concern I have about, okay, boys can be lazy and nasty sometimes. It's just, I don't know why, they just can be. But okay, you pee in a cup, but dude, why do you have a room full? Can you not say, okay, I chose to be lazy right now, so I'm going to go and take this and dump this? So obviously there's, and I know how anxiety and depression works. And I know that, and this is what I dealt with my daughter-in-law, that my son is going through the divorce. Her house was so bad. And a lot of it was, it's like, oh, she's lazy. There is a little bit of that in there, but there was some depression and some mental stuff going on that was causing her to not even be able to function. I'm like, how can you sit there when the trash is overflowing with diapers? I mean, any normal human being, would just say, okay, well, let me clean that up because I can't stand it. But there's something mentally going on that is blocking the ability to either comprehend, or the depression, or the something, the imbalance is something is causing him to not respond the way he should. Now, whether or not it's just being rebellious, or if he's truly fighting some major mental stuff. Now, I know from also experience that when they have substances, they'll act one way, and when they don't have their substances, they'll act a certain way. So if he's going without, his pot, and then he's having to try to function normal, that's a roller coaster ride for him. So there's a lot of things involved there. I don't like the fact, yes, that he's thinking that life is, you can't live life like that. And later in life, you are going to have to face life. So I'm sorry, I can't remember, but is he still seeing a therapist or no?
Yes.
Okay.
He is still seeing a therapist.
You get to talk to.
It's ironic that his therapy is at the same time that ours is every Thursday now. So he's been going with his mom, but his mom has been just dropping the ball on everything the last couple of weeks. It's just a whole nother topic. But yeah, she's positive for COVID right now, so she did not take him this morning.
And that's when she chooses to come home.
Yeah, she
for
hasn't
the first time in 3 weeks.
She hasn't been home barely at all, and she comes and picks him up last night, takes him to the mall, and then says, I think I have COVID, get the test. And
oh, wow.
She does test positive for COVID.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, exactly. So he definitely, he still sees the counselor at school, but the counselor at school also doesn't he's not very helpful as far as giving us any guidance or any real substance. It just literally is like,
no feedback unless
no feedback.
No, school counselors just seem to, I don't know. I mean, I know my niece is seeing a school counselor, and I'm like, well,
I feel like school counselors, their focus these days is to try to just keep him on a level where he functions in school.
Yep. They do damage control. They're doing damage control to make sure, if there's if there's abuse going on or, drugs going on, we can't have that in our school. And okay, well, you're not failing and yes, you're right. So they're just doing to maintain.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I guess what I'm saying is there is obviously a true deep rooted problem. So yes, the disobedience, the rebellion, all of that is absolutely wrong. It's just, we don't have we have the ability to help, but he needs definitely somebody to dig down and figure all this out, which is it's gonna be a process for him, because you know how it is, therapy and counseling and all that it's a long
Yeah.
process.
Let me jump in really quick.
Jump.
People treat others the way they feel about themselves.
Yeah.
And if you can remember
I
that,
agree with
so,
I agree with that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
If you feel bad about yourself, you will treat others badly. It's like, here's a funny example. Tanya's on the phone with me coming home from the tanning bed today. Some guy, now it's a 2-lane highway, or it's a 4-lane highway. She's in the slow lane. There's a left lane with no cars, no traffic, and she's in the right lane doing speed limit. This truck bears up on her and tailgates her. She's doing speed limit.
I mean, but
And she's on the phone with
Oh
me
my
going,
goodness.
get off my butt, dude. Then he finally
Yeah,
goes,
get in the other lane.
huh?
well, I tapped my brakes to let him.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
tapped
he
my
could,
brakes to let him know, dude, get off my butt.
yeah, he could have easily gone around. So when he goes around, he flips her off and lays on his horn. Well, that's a guy who's
Oh my
miserable with himself. That's a dude who
Mhm.
thinks pretty badly of himself by the way he treated her. So back to Hayden. Here's my advice in the situation. Maybe there could be a plan that you guys could come up with together and operating in this way, but he's treating you guys and all of that because of the way he feels. I think it's incredibly important to find ways to build him up. And I know you guys do that some, but to find
Mhm.
ways to over compliment, not, not put on, not a put on the where it's obvious, but more than normal, everything he does, find a way to encourage him and start making him feel better about himself. Because until he feels better about himself, he's not going to be. Remember what I told you, Lonnie? You can't give what you don't have. Well,
Right.
it's the same scenario
And I-
here. And Todd, did you have something?
Sorry, no, go ahead.
Okay. The girl on your screen is a life example of that. Her behaviors of the past were the way she felt about herself. And when I married her, she had a very low self-esteem. I'm not worthy. A lot of that self-doubt. I'm scared to make a decision. It's only going to backfire. All of this stuff. And I think she would call it self-sabotage because she, at that time, and still struggles at times, but it's getting better, expects things to go wrong. So what's the point? It's going to go wrong anyway, that type of thing. Hayden probably has this same type of mentality. It's just going to go wrong anyway. My mom's abandoned me. My dad's abandoned me. Everybody abandons me. Nobody sticks around. Well, Tanya kind of had that. And it was not easy, but she'll tell you, I told her multiple times, I'm proud of you. I and I'll never forget this, guys, and I'm telling you this is testimony. I'm in the bed. She's at the foot of the bed to the right, down below it, and I said, "You're worth it." And she just said, she stood there, didn't respond, and I said, "Do you believe me?" And I'm talking 3 years in, guys. And she said, "I'm starting to." I would tell her, I want her in marriage ministry with me. You know what her response was? I don't want any part of it. Gave me every excuse in the world. I don't want any part of it. I don't want to travel with you. I don't want to. You treat people how you feel about yourself. And she did not feel worthy. She didn't feel called. None of the stuff. The unfortunate thing for Tanya is when God showed me she's my purpose, I don't give up. And now look where she is today.
And like I said, it still tries to rear its ugly head because Satan does not want you to move forward. Like your response, Lonnie, to him was so what he needed. He was probably like,
Powerful.
he's probably so confused right now. But like John's,
Oh, he was confused. I could tell. He was like, he didn't know
what just
what.
happened?
So much so,
Yep.
yeah, so much so that it made him break down. Like he
Yeah.
cried and
Yeah.
and then he apologized, which, and I could tell it was sincere. He definitely, that's not his normal,
Mhm.
That's a starting
reaction.
point.
So it's funny that you guys are saying what you're saying, John, talking about uplifting him, and Tanya, when you said that, you know, the devil will continue to rear its ugly head and
Mhm.
so on. When I was at work yesterday for 14 plus hours,
You
because
didn't
of
say
all the
that with
things that were
resentment.
going on.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, well, you know, I had a lot of time, a lot of solidarity time with the Lord, and you know, so it was a benefit to me, and it helped me deal with the fact that I was already extremely tired, had very little sleep this week. And every day there's been something, which happens in trucking, and everything's on a schedule, a DOT schedule. You already know about it, John, where
Yep.
you only have so many hours to do
Yep.
what you need to do. And then you need to shut down. And there's getting the job done, and there's getting it safely, and etc. So most of my day is driving, and a couple hours of it is delivering. So I've got nothing but time to think, you know, and I turned the radio off. I turned everything off after I worshiped with music and Bible verses. And I was driving, so I just used my headset and said, you know, in the Bible, I just would, anything that came to my mind, that a person's name in the Bible, whatever that I've always
Mhm.
wondered about, and just haven't gotten to that point in the Bible, reading it from the beginning to the end. I just would pick that. The Bible would pick it. I would say, read it. It reads the whole thing to me, and I was going with it. And I felt like it was kind of like a God's choose his own adventure with me type of day. And
Yeah.
I immediately had this notion and envisioned it having another. Hayden's birthday is in October. And I felt like after that conversation that I had with him, I felt like there was some type of breakthrough to where immediately then also, which was the night before, I was thinking this is like a rebirth in the whole situation, like a
Mhm.
actual new starting point. So I haven't talked to Jamie about it because we've been working. Then I come home, go to sleep, wake up, go to work. I was thinking about just out of the blue having a surprise party for him, have all his friends already there, and you know, and explain to them that what we're doing, you know, explain to them, and they, most of these kids, their parents don't raise them spiritually, you know, and and I just got the feeling like this is the way to actually get the word across to his friends, that that's the type of lifestyle that we're trying to live, so that he's not only accountable because all his friends know, but then basically just have a party for him, and everyone literally is like, I can't even think of the word for it. They're like
Witnessing.
celebrating him, and the fact that he, because all of his friends have this issue with him as well, where they go in and out of looking at him going, Hayden, really? Like, I just don't understand. And I've lost, through going through these trials and tribulations, the kids that come over that do like Hayden, they don't even speak to me anymore. They come to my house, stay the night, they walk past me like I don't even exist, just like he does.
Mhm.
And You know, some of them have expressed that they just do not like me because Hayden and I don't get along. You know,
Yeah.
and that makes me feel ashamed that I've allowed that to happen. I had a good rapport with most of them. They come to my house and they're like, "Hey, how you doing this and that?" Now they're just like walk. I mean, literally, will walk past me and go right into my refrigerator like I'm not even there. No, I'm not kidding you. They will walk past if I'm going to get something to eat when I come home from work or on my day off and they're there. They will literally walk like I'm not even standing there, brush right through me, go around me, not look at me, not say a word. I go to reach for a utensil, they grab it before I do, and don't even think
Oh,
about it.
Lordy mercy.
And one way I was thinking about it all along, like, wow, this is just slipping away, and these
Yeah.
kids have zero respect in my home,
Mhm.
and it's something that I could easily get upset about. But I really had this feeling of let's just explain to these kids what my plan is. I mean, have Hayden's favorite music, have a cake,
Be
make his
awesome.
favorite meal. I'll cook it, you know, everybody can eat, we can all have a good time, so on and so forth. And then just like you said, Tanya, the devil, it's like he knew exactly what I wanted to do. And now Misty, who hasn't been around all this time, who is part of the catalyst of why Hayden feels inside the way he does, boom, she comes home and has now been home with COVID longer than she has in the last month, 2 months. And I'm like, so now I got to avoid her to not get sick so I can go to work.
Yep.
Hayden's been around her, so he's probably got COVID now. And so that's not happening right now. And I've always known that when there's something that you want to do to make a bad situation better, it you have to almost do it immediately or it loses its luster.
Yep.
You know, they go back to their agenda, you're
Mhm.
in the middle of a whole bunch of stuff, and now you try to bring something up, and the feeling is almost irrelevant. And I woke up today, found out that Misty has COVID, and that Hayden and her have been around each other for the last, you know, 2 days.
8 hours.
And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? The devil wouldn't even give me a chance to get
Yep.
to my day off today to make this possible.
I
But
know.
I'm
I
not
yeah.
going to let it defeat me. There's going
No.
to be another opportunity, and I'm going to make Hayden feel that day like he is the king of the house.
Yep.
Yep.
Like he is the man, and I am so glad that we had this talk. And I will sweetly, shortly say that during the whole process, the whole thing,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
let him know why I'm doing it. Because there's going to be a point where I know Hayden. He's going to say, "Why are you doing this?" Just like that. And I'm going to say, "You want to know why I'm doing this? Because you are the man. You are a kid who has dealt with so much in your life,
Yep.
and you have finally gotten to a point where you can actually express yourself." When
So,
he told me he didn't care about what I had to say, and he has never cared, and he has really no respect for me. That did not anger me. It literally made me feel a sigh of relief that he actually will come to terms instead of lie to your face,
yeah.
get an attitude with
Yep.
you.
Let me
All of that.
rewind really
I
quick,
didn't make
Lonnie.
it
What's the
perfect.
event you're trying to plan for him?
I was planning on trying to do like another a whole birthday party, like just presents, cake, the whole 9 yards, and just like it was his birthday, and tell him, you know, because it's like he's actually able to open his mouth and say
Okay,
what's on his mind and how he feels.
I got it.
And
Okay.
I hope
Yep.
at this point
Yes.
on we can
S-
continue to do that with respect.
Okay, really quick. See, we're about 50 minutes now. I'm going to ask you one quick question. I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna I think Tanya had something more to say. I don't know. I can't remember.
No.
If that's okay.
No.
All right.
I
And then I'm
said
going to change subjects in just a second, but let's go to this party thing. are you just gonna call it something different, like a celebration day?
I was literally just gonna. I haven't gotten to that point yet because
Okay,
I wanted to discuss with Jamie what her thoughts were and
okay,
like think of some type of like kind of like when you have a dance at school, they have like a certain
a theme.
theme.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. It's Celebrate Hayden Day. You know, it'd be kind of cool is either have his friends and maybe you guys also write little notes to where he, like handwritten notes that you
Uh-huh.
letting him know how much he's appreciated, how much you love him, that type of thing. Maybe make a video, anything like that would be super cool.
Uh-huh.
So, so many those are some ideas. All right, that's awesome. So
That is awesome.
yeah, I love the idea, Lonnie. And I'm gonna shoot a verse at you. I don't know where it is. I don't know the exact wording of it, but there is a verse in the Old Testament that God talks about what you talked about. Something got stolen from you. Well, God's a restorer, and when He restores, He not only
Yep.
restores, He adds to it. So He says,
Yes, he does.
I will restore what the
Res- restore what the
canker
locust
worms and the
or
locust have
canker
stolen.
worm.
Tanya, you can look that up if you
Hmm.
want to. But yeah, God
Yeah,
says,
that's
I
what
will
I'm
restore
doing.
it. I'll restore it. So don't worry about Satan. He may have gotten that battle away from you, but he will lose the war because we have authority
Joel
over him.
2:25.
Read it.
Joel 2:25, and I will restore to I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten, the cankerworm and the caterpillar, and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you. What's the other version? Let's see. Let me get the. I will repay you for the years eaten by the locust. I will restore to you the years which the locusts and blah 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 blah, all the worms. Pretty much, I don't know the context of it, but I know that that is used a lot to just say everything that you've lost. God is going to restore it. I mean, if I could write a book about what my life has been like, as far as what I started out with not much, lost a lot of things in life, and God has blessed me. I've been doing this thing at my friend's place called brain tapping, but I listened to this thing on gratitude and I just bawled my eyes out. It's like, if you knew where I came from and where I am now, it would blow your mind. I mean, blow your mind. And God has blessed. I mean, with my kids, we could be in a position to where we have no relationship, literally have no relationship because of my bad decisions. I loved my kids and they knew I loved them, and I did all the sports, I did all the school, the fun, being the volunteer mom, but everything behind the scenes was a mess. And at home was a mess. And I was an alcoholic for quite a few years. And it makes you a horrible person. And I don't even recognize that person. Like I said, the enemy hit me with that memory, and I'm like, it was just like, it's just stupid stuff I've done that my kids were around. I'm like, I let stupid stuff happen, and literally God has just restored our relationships. Yes, they still remember the bad stuff, and sometimes it comes out like, yeah, I remember when you did that, mom. But they're to a point where they're healing and they're getting better. And my son's in church, and they're here visiting all the time. If I look back and see where we were, I could have not only lost my kids back then, I could have not have a relationship with them, but God has moved and performed miracles after miracles. And I didn't even have somebody like you do to kind of help guide you until I met John. I was at a point to where I had nobody guiding me. So meeting John definitely was a big, huge turning point. God was already working behind the scenes, and then he brought John along, and John didn't do anything between me and my kids. It's what God used John to do to help change me. Therefore, it changed everything. So that's all it takes is one person, like generational curses, all that stuff. It just takes one person to say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to live like this anymore. I'm not going to be that person. And even like with my son now, he recognized his anger and his bitterness. And I mean, he would, during his first separation with his wife, I mean, he got on the phone and yelled at me and said, I hate talking to you, Mom. I can't stand hearing your voice because it brings back, it brings out so much anger. And I knew he was lashing out in pain because he had been hurt so bad by things she had done. But that's our relationship was at that point, like that's been a little over a year ago. And right now, things are so amazing. He respects me, he loves me, he still has his moments of, moodiness but thank God has restored so much. He's had, yes, he's going through a divorce. So God has taken what Satan is meant to destroy my son to actually heal his relationship with me, heal his relationship with his children. So I'm blown away. I would have never said, okay, God, you need to get Jacob and Kendra divorced so you can make Jacob a better dad and us to have a better relationship. But God knew what needed to happen. He didn't make them have a divorce. He knew that Jacob cried out for help, and the only way there was going to be help was to get them apart. Because he did tell me at one time, he said, Mom, I've cried out for help. Why am I here? I said, you don't see what she was doing behind closed doors. You don't see conversations she was having. You don't see the plotting she was doing to destroy you, but God did. And he knew the only way to save you was to get you out. And that just the domino effect of the healing process that has happened. So you keep doing what you're doing and don't let anything deter you. Even if he gets worse, things got really bad before they got better with us, with me and my kids and my life and my healing. So don't let anything stop you. If you have a bad day, repent and move on. Tell him you're sorry, tell God I'm sorry, and you move on, but don't give up. Keep pushing because God will reward your obedience. So anyway.
Well, and lastly on that, and then we'll change the subject because I have another question to discuss. It won't take as long. Lonnie, you're the leader and you have begun putting things in order and you see the response of that order. So I'm going to encourage both of you to continue to focus on partnering up, unifying together, and attacking this together. Always keep that in mind. That's got to be your focus, because when you guys are unified, you're twice as strong. Actually, you're probably stronger than that. And so the fact that you guys have unified together, which is what's leading me to my next question, you're starting to reap those rewards. And like Tanya said, it's a process. It might take a while, but Paul talked about staying diligent and fighting the good fight and busting your tail to kick Satan in the crotch. So anyway, any closing thoughts on that topic before I ask the next question?
Nope.
Nope. You guys are good? All right.
Yeah.
Now, next question. We left Jamie out. How are you doing in your challenge I gave you a couple weeks ago about staying firm and keeping your word and not backing off?
I think I'm doing it. I feel like I'm doing better. Do you, Lonnie?
I wish you could see his face, John.
With the last situation, yeah. Prior to that, we had a couple hiccups, and I talked to you about it. And you did what you normally do, and I've let it go. I can't even remember what it is, but there was like 2 or 3 times we went to bed that night, and I was like, Jamie, what is going on with this? What is going on with that? How come this? How come that? And you're like, well, this and that, so on and so forth. But I have to say that Jamie is under stress and under fire with Tristan right now, and is putting a lot of focus in that, because a lot of times the things with Hayden takes away from what Jamie is able to do with Tristan and his things that he has in his life. Although he is a very loving boy and very respectful, he does do there's things lacking in him that has to be continually checked up on. And sometimes that falls to the wayside because of Hayden, because of Misty being there, because of all the other maintenance that we have to do because of so many people around us. Juggling all that can be tough. So
Yeah.
I do have to give her the benefit of the doubt that she is spending a lot of her time racking her brain on what to do with Tristan and school and his decisions and his laziness, lack of motivation, all that I can see where, there is definitely good or cause to be a little more lax and not check up on things or not do things, when I'm not here or unable to do it. So I did mention to her when we went to bed, I did not I tried definitely not to do it in a way where I felt like where she could feel like I'm putting her down. It was mainly like, are these things being done to make sure, because I'm not seeing that right now. The order of things is starting to fall apart a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the discussion. She heard what I had to say. She did tell me that, she's trying and that she would do something about it, so
And then in the last scenario, she held up her word and did what she said.
yeah, I mean, like the next day she would check into it, but the feeling that comes across when Jamie and I have those conversations, or, I'm checking to see how things are going, or not even checking, but walk through the door and see it, and can recognize it. The part that I've been praying about is for her to receive it in a way that where I'm coming from, to just be her checks and balance, not her overseer or her dad, or tell her where she's at fault, because that's, I feel like she will take it that way a little bit and then go forth and do it just for the sake of appeasing me. And that's where I see where it's not as strong, because it's not something that she's, putting forth because she knows that that's what she should do.
Well, I'm going to stop you right there because as you said that, some scriptures came to mind. Technically, you are her overseer. You actually are an overseer. In a godly way is where you have to make sure you are overseeing.
Mhm.
And when you work as a team and you approach her, you just kind of hit on how you approach it. You don't want her to think that you're coming over as, instead of an overseer, maybe a dictator would be a better word that you're probably trying to convey. Would that be accurate, Lonnie?
Yes, that's what
Okay.
I'm trying to not
Right.
come up
Right.
with. It's not in
Yeah.
my heart.
Yeah, because you are an overseer, but not a dictator. You don't want to be the dictator. So when you ask to see how things are, where they stand, if things have been done, you present it in a way where she can respond as a godly, submissive wife because her leader is asking where things stand. That's a great model as long as it's presented, because presentation is everything. Now, Jamie, when he came to you, how did you take it when he asked you about it?
I feel like what is wonderful is that even in, even though in negative situations, everything spirals out of control and there's, a cycle that you follow. It's
Yep.
the same way when things start going positive too. So
Yes.
so when he comes to me and he says things in a way that are just so much more softer, so much more soft, so much more tender than I've seen him be like
Mm-hmm.
in a really long time. I don't feel the urge to feel defensive or get,
Awesome.
what I mean, like upset about what he's saying to me. I do genuinely, and just sitting here, it melted my heart that he actually mentioned, my struggles with Tristan this week and that he took that into consideration, because in the past it's been a battle for us in ways when I feel like I'm like expected. I felt back in those times that I was expected to have perfection all the
Mm-hmm.
time, no matter what is going on. There's no excuse for the dishes to not be done, or there's no excuse for this to have not been followed through on. But I literally felt like emotionally and mentally I couldn't handle more than what was the issue at hand at that time. And it was just, I felt like he was kind of expecting me to just be able to juggle it all and do it very, very well, you know? So now it really just warms me, and it makes me, and in return with that, it makes me feel like I want to please him on a different level of doing things that I know make him happy with the kids, the house, the et cetera, just because I feel so much more seen and appreciated for the things that I do, you know. In the situation with Tristan this week, I have been spending a lot of time on schoolwork with him because he has Regents exams coming up in April, and he homeschools and Hayden doesn't. So I am the teacher of everything right now. He's got science, English, math, like all of his Regents exams coming up. High school, easy to homeschool with, you know. So there's definitely, and the fact that he is not, I had a biblical conversation with Tristan the other night that took a long while. And it was great to have Lonnie just be so understanding of that. He called me and I didn't answer. And I messaged him back and I said, I'll see you when I get home. I'm having a conversation with Tristan. And he just said, okay. And when he walked through the door, he sat down. He heard my concerns about Trist, mentioned a few things to Tristan, and was just so supportive with the whole situation. It made me just feel like he really is showing some amazing leadership skills with us right now.
That's awesome. And when that happens, is it funny how it flows?
It does flow. Like I said, you know, that cycle of positivity, I can see it starting to get like a foothold in our home where things could be dramatically different in our home a month from now. Like night and day. I feel like almost, you know, this is going to be a huge example of God not only being real, but what he can do in our lives for our boys. They're going to see it firsthand for me and Lonnie, because we're going to actually not going to just be sitting there going, blah, 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 read your Bible, blah, 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 do that, blah, 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 do that. It's going to be bigger than that, because they're just going to see us walking that walk with the Lord. And so I'm really, really, really excited for the future.
Yeah. Well,
hey guys, I have to, John, I'm going to have to go on because they put me in at 12:30. I need to learn boundaries. And my old lady that I took care of has fired her other lady. They have nobody. She loves me. I agreed to come for an hour or an hour and a half to put groceries away and cook her a lunch. So I've got to just say nope, not available anymore. But it's hard because I do care about her, even though she's
make her some soul food. That's what we
she loves the way I cook. I'm gonna put a little extra spice in there, I think. But
oh, you know what's funny?
I don't want to.
She says, Lonnie says soul food. Tanya says she loves the way I cook. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh, don't make that joke. That would not be a good joke, because my mind went to a sexual nature about cooking. And then Tanya said, I'm going to put some spice in it. And I'm like, yeah, now we're talking. So
I've made him lunch, so.
Yeah. Well, the joke was I'm not going to tell the joke.
Yes,
It wasn't,
don't even do it.
no, it wasn't vulgar. It wasn't vulgar. I don't do vulgar jokes, but it'd have been hilarious. It'd have been hilarious, but I've learned to not joke.
Yes.
So
I'm proud of you guys. You're doing great.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you next week. And actually next week I'll have little Parker with me so you can meet my grandson.
Right. And before you go, real quick, I just want to try to uplift you some more. I have definitely seen the things that you are putting into the Marital Monkey. I've said it before, but lately, you know, it's encouraged me to even, I added something one day that I came across while working. And I just want to uplift you, Tanya, and tell you that, you know, all the stories that you share with us and all the trials and tribulations that you've been through, I can see it in you as well.
Yeah.
John you are amazing at what you do. You are
Oh,
providing
He
a
really is.
standard and a blueprint that is making our life so much different because we know the source to tap into. And while you're doing that, your wife is, putting out all the footnotes and the encouragement and everything else. And she is being an amazing help to you that you, Tanya, you didn't even see you were going to be able to do.
I know.
So as much praise as you give us, because that's your calling and that's what you do, I just wanted to give some back today and tell you that
Oh,
I
thank you.
I enjoy. It's almost like I listen to podcasts and I look forward to seeing or listening to them,
Mhm.
and now that's added to my
Yeah.
my bag of tricks. I
Yeah.
go right there when a message pops up and
Yeah.
it's from you, I'm like, I know she's got something good to say.
Kick Satan in the crotch.
That's right. I thought about it the other day and I'm like, I know you got a lot on your plate already, but you should have a little column where you throw your thoughts in
I
there
know.
because they're positive and they're motivating and they put energy into my focus of getting into the
John,
work.
yeah,
So
John has a Marital Monkey blog page on his website that's not visible right now because he doesn't have time to blog. But I know God's called me to write because, well, I just know many things have told me. So I'm going to be doing even more on social media for the Marital Monkey stuff and in our group and all that, just because I know that that's my calling. John can't do some of that stuff because he's studying and he's in the word and he's helping. He's got the foundation and I've got to help build the walls. So and I know being an encourager is part of my calling, and it's just thank you. I appreciate that because
yeah,
sometimes
thank
it
you.
feels like I'm running circles and I'm
and
not
we
doing
and we
anything.
appreciate
So
and I can see it in
yeah.
everyone that's in our group that we've met through you guys. I know they appreciate it because they jump right on it
Yeah. Oh yeah.
they're adding a lot more. When we first came in before you were doing that so much,
Yep.
you didn't see a whole lot of feedback and now
Yes.
they're following
Yep.
your lead and it's
Yep.
awesome.
That's true.
You
Yeah, it
know,
is. Thank you
went
guys.
from
I'll be
one
texting
plant
you, Jamie.
it went
Okay.
it went from one
Yeah,
plant to a garden now.
yeah,
That's right.
that's
That's
my
right.
girl. I'm
And
really
usually I
Bye.
kill plants, so
Me too.
That's my wife. She can't keep anything green
I
alive to save her life.
Nope, I can't.
oh
what
no, I
yeah,
can't.
yeah. Well, when she goes, I have a funny thing to tell you about plants. But anyway,
Oh gosh. Okay, Jamie, tell me
uh,
what story he tells on me. I'm
it's
gonna go
not a
drop this
story.
food and I'm gonna go take care of my old lady. Bye
Okay.
guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.
But yeah, seriously, on a serious note, Lonnie, thank you for that. And it does encourage because I've learned in leading ministry, being a teacher and all of that, oh, thanks. Boy, that's what happens when you try to help people who just talk all the time, you just miss your lunch hour. Oh, wait, you're still on here. I shouldn't have said that out loud. Anyway, I'm joking. I am absolutely joking. But I've learned as a minister and doing what we do and leading and teaching that stuff, it has caused me to pick out about 10 separate pastors and lift them up on a daily basis. So to get feedback like that is very encouraging. It's very appreciated. And I want you to know that. So thank you for those kind and encouraging
Oh,
words.
No, I've been watching so much. Like I feel like I have been, oh my gosh, just into the word so much the last week. Like I'm just obsessed with it. I'm just listening to so many people and reading the Bible. I came across this guy's YouTube and I just was like, "Oh, I'm turning it off. He is so dry. John is so much better at this. Bye."
Well, thank you, Jamie.
Well, and I was like, John, but
Yeah.
style. Oh,
Hold on, say that again. You cut in and out again, and I didn't catch it.
I said, then I said, I'm sorry, God, forgive me. I'm not judging them, but they're just not the style.
Well, I do appreciate that. I love what I've called to do, and Tanya and I had a long talk yesterday about things, kind of really putting our feet on the ground and mentally preparing for what's coming. And I said, how cool is it? God doesn't need us to help marriages be restored. He doesn't need us to. He can do that on his own, but he chooses people to further his calling. Imperfect people who struggle and all the. I said the very first relationship of human nature in creation was a marriage. That's what he's put us to do. I said, think about the magnitude. And what I'm about to say, I already knew, but for whatever reason, the way my wife said it, it just really hit home. It's again, I knew it, but the way that she said it just made me go, wow, that's some real life stuff. I said, the fact that we get to be used to help marriages. And I said, a healthy man, a healthy husband equals a healthy marriage. And she said, but when these marriages are restored, then that creates healthier kids, which in turn creates more healthy marriages because now they have an example. And then she started, the way she said it, I don't know, it was almost like there was a picture being painted before me because I'm a man, I'm in my box, and I think about, if a marriage is restored through the ministry God gave us, yay, that marriage is restored. But it never really fully hit me until she said about the snowball effect of that happening. Like you guys, and Jamie, you said it. I think it was you that said it. You guys are the real life example for Hayden and Tristan to be married and seeing God at work. Then they get married and they're like, I want to do it like Lonnie and Jamie did it because that works. And then there's this, and I just was like, whoa, I guess the magnitude of it hit me. Huh?
The trickle down effect.
Yeah. And I just said, what a humbling thought that God chose you and me and gave us the whatever it takes for us. It just, it's don't even know how to respond to it. It's mind boggling. And now he's like, all right, huh?
It's amazing to think, let's say we've spent 20 hours talking and you've coached us for 20 hours so far, right? Like, literally make a difference for generations to come.
It's mind blowing, but that's what God does. So, and honestly, I've told you guys, I was a terrible student in school. I don't have a college degree. I didn't, in my adult years, say, you know what I want to do for the rest of my life? I want to help marriages. I thought I was going to tour the world in Christian rock bands. I really did. And then when I was called to the speaking ministry, I thought, okay, I'll be a national touring speaker, telling my story and using my catchphrase. If a blind guy can do it, what's your excuse? Now I am speaking at a men's conference. It's a Zoom conference, but in a couple of weeks. It's called Iron Sharpens Iron Conference. But I'm doing that more as a side thing now. I'm like, I don't even think about the speaking ministry. I'm so involved in marriage. I'm like, never in my wildest dreams. So you just never know where God's taking you, which is why I gave Lonnie that put on your seatbelt, buddy. Just roll with it. The night of comedy, it went from a marriage conference to maybe just a one-day conference to a workshop to maybe I can rent out a retreat center. And then it turned into the night of comedy. I said, sometimes God sends you down those paths to help you get to where he wants you. And then when you get there, you'll know it. It's just like, I knew this was it. The marriage oasis. Yeah. Now it's like, all right, God, where's that 20 million it's going to take to build this thing? Yeah. I know you've got it. Where is it? So now here's the plant story. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you and Jamie fill me in? Because I was going to ask her when we go to breakfast, I'm going to ask her what's going on with Jamie's friend and you receiving help to go forth with this endeavor.
Okay, Lonnie, please repeat that. I think it's my internet for some reason just bogged down, so I apologize.
No problem. I was gonna talk to Jamie about it when we went to get something to eat, but can you fill me in on what's going on with what's his name?
Isaiah.
Isaiah,
Isaiah, and how things are going there and how things are looking?
it's very confusing because, I sent him an email. He said he'll check it. I never heard from him. Jamie said it's okay. Go ahead and send him a message on Messenger because that's how she communicates. And he responded almost immediately. Great to hear from you! Exclamation point. Um, I don't remember the whole conversation, but in short, at the end, he said, I will have the head of my, I guess, donations department or contribute, whatever they call it, get a hold of you within the next 24 to 48 hours. Get your information. He'll bring it to our board because I want to be held accountable for what we do. And then he will get your information, bring to us a suggestion. The board will vote. The board will vote on it. The board will vote on it. And then, basically that's how it works. I said, great. Can't wait to hear from him. Is it Zoom or a phone call? He said phone call. Send him my number. That was it. So I waited for like 4 or 5 days because I didn't want to be overwhelming. And I was like, hey, Isaiah, just checking in. I never did hear from Chris, but I know things are busy. And I do. I get it. And he read the message and never responded. I'm like, okay, I'm confused, but I don't want to say that to him. So then I touched base with Jamie. She dropped him a message and said, John's really looking forward to talking with Chris. Well, he didn't respond to her either. And see, that's hard for me. If he doesn't want to do it, if he just says we're not in position, that's what I need to know. I can close that chapter and keep going. But right now I feel like I'm
I
kind of,
hate that.
yeah. And right now it feels
In
like I'm
limbo.
hanging out on a clothesline. And I
Yeah,
don't know
you're
if
in
this,
limbo.
yeah, the closure thing, I think he wants to, or the, huh?
Lonnie knows that is something I can to feel in limbo. I am not with being of just
But God
waiting.
also says, "Be
Be
still."
still. He tells me that. Lonnie tells me that all the
Yeah.
time. He's like, hey,
Yep.
be still.
And that's where faith kicks in. If Isaiah
Yeah.
has a calling on him to bless Marital Monkey and the Marriage Oasis, it's going to happen. But we don't sit back and say, God, it's up to you. He says, do your job, I'll do mine. Are you guys there?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So that's kind of where it is right now. I just don't know. So right before we got on with you guys, I called another friend of mine. He's actually a Christian rock legend. And he picked up the phone. He's like, what's up, kiddo? Or whatever it is he says, whatever he calls me. And I told him what was going on. And he said, I do know a guy that has just started a brand new ministry to connect philanthropists with other 501c3s who need support. He said, what kind of a monthly income do you need to do your thing? I said, oh, well, I don't care. I said, I've got one person that donates literally $18.08 a month. I said, that's a building block. I don't care. I said, I have other things that I'm trying to get done. I said, but ultimately, and I told him the whole vision, I said, $20 million minimum is what I've asked God for. And that's where, we could probably do it for less than that, but my God's a big God, and I'm not going to put a lid on the box and shove him in there and say, stay in there. And so $20 million is what we're after. We're putting brochures together right now. That's one of the priorities I just gave Tanya. I said, tighten this thing up, get it bullet pointed. We've got to get this stuff out. I've got folders. I've got these brochures we're creating. I'm going to send out my book, and I'm going to literally say, this is what I've done by myself for 3.5 years as a blind guy. Now my wife has quit her job, and we are doing this together because we know for a fact it's a calling. We just need backers. So like the Marriage Oasis, theater, indoor miniature golf course, bowling alley. Well, that sounds a lot of fun, but there is a point behind that. This is to reconnect couples on the next level up wherever they are, to where Lonnie and Jamie are on a team going up against John and Tanya on a team in a bowling competition. Well, Lonnie and Jamie wins the competition, and there's a point behind it. You lose together and you win together. It's not one or the
That-
other. So that's the whole point. And we're gonna have hopefully shuffleboard, volleyball courts, basketball court, who knows? But theaters and reception areas. I want to perform weddings there. We've got a premarital course we're gonna start working on. I mean, the vision is huge.
You
But
need a bowling alley too, because I need some lessons.
Yeah, he is going to.
yeah, 8-lane bowling alley. Absolutely.
There you go.
It's on the plan already. It's typed out. We're wanting to have a women's wellness center. So Tanya can teach women how to take care of themselves, which she needs to do. And that's what she says. That would keep her accountable to her calling. I mean, dude, it's just so much. Dude and dudette, I should say. We have so much, but I don't get discouraged. I get tired. It's like, oh gosh, I got to keep, and I got to do it anyway. But I'm going to be
Right.
sending packets out to multimillionaires like Mark Stoops, the Kentucky football coach. I know one of his
Mhm.
staff members pretty well. I know that staff member's dad really, I won't say really well, but we're friends. They probably have
Right.
connections, but I'm going to send it to my friend who's on staff and say, will you take that directly to his office? So the university doesn't intercept it and say, yet another request for money. Let me throw it in the trash.
Right.
That type of thing. I mean, dude, my mind is about to explode. I'm so excited and pumped. Can't wait. So
I love the drive.
you love what?
I love the drive that you have.
Oh, thanks,
you're
man.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I love about this is being blind. I love that because I've built all of our websites except Tanya's. In these PowerPoints, that doesn't seem like a big deal, but that takes a long time. And it's not a bragging thing. It's a gift God gave me. And I'm blind and he still helps me do it. And I get to share it with people. And then the blind guy, don't give me excuses. I'm the last guy you want to give an excuse to. So that's where I get
Absolutely.
that's where I get excited about leading people who are willing to listen. One of my clients, he's not a believer whatsoever. And I hear plenty of F-bombs during our sessions, but I've got to share Jesus with him in a respectful way. And you know why? He's like, dude, all the stuff you've been through, if somebody's going to help me get out of my slump, you're the guy. You've been there, you've done it. And I think that's, again, Lonnie, it's kind of what I talked to you earlier. What you're going through now will develop you for something later. So
Definitely.
all glory to God, period. Anyway, see what happens when you ask me a question?
Right. You
No,
just
that's okay.
you go on and on. Yeah, I know.
Hey, Jamie, the
Uh-huh.
next time we meet, I want you guys on separate devices because I can't kick both of you out. I mean, I can't kick him out without kicking you out.
Yeah.
But if he's on his own device, I can go in there and put remove from meeting and he's out of here. So please get your own device next time. So I have that ability. No, you guys, you really are a blessing to us. And I know it's going to work out. And, you guys encourage us very much so. And I appreciate your willingness to do that. It blesses us. And I love what I do. And it's like I told Tanya this morning. I said, you know what? We use this terminology. We're like, well, time to get to work. And I'm like, this is not work. It's just not work. A calling, it's just like, let's get busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even like calling it work. It has a negative connotation like that. I'm just, let's get busy. It's time to get this done. We've got another couple we're meeting with at 3:00 today. What a mess. What a mess they're in right now. But, I know that God put them in our path. So let's go.
Yes, let's go.
Have you heard from my niece and her husband?
I've been working with them.
Good, good. She
Yep.
keeps saying that she wants to call me and talk to me. She sounds elated. Hopefully that's the case. But we're working and him doing everything he can to keep things going, and their kids and
Yeah.
all of that. I understand, my the family that I get along with, we have understand times where we're not like my sister down south. She is such a woman of God and loves Jesus, and we're not talk all the time when I'm on the road, and she'll talk to me. And then there's times when she's so busy we don't get the chance to talk, and
Yep.
then we catch up, and it's like before I know it, my whole then we're still on the phone. All right, I'm gonna get going. But
I can't see you being like that.
and that's my sister's, that sister I'm talking about, that's her daughter. And she's I heard your little wisecrack. Uh uh, she's amazing too. She's my favorite niece. And I just want to see them, prosper in their marriage, because they so deserve each other. The thing that
Well,
he is, and the life that he has had, and how loving my niece is, and just wants to see him become a man in every way,
yeah.
and how much support she gives him. And I don't, other than what she tells me, I don't get involved and get
Yeah.
with them, have fun and enjoy them. So I would just love to see them get to a great place in their
Yeah.
marriage.
Yeah. We've been working with them. They missed last week, but we have been working with them. We're supposed to meet with them tomorrow. And that's all, I know that they're family, and I have I don't want to say anything outside of being vague because confidentiality, I promise it. And I try to walk in that for sure.
And I'm not fishing, just so you know. That's the point I'm trying to convey. I just want nothing but good for them.
Yeah. Well, the challenge with them, just between us, is that she's Christian. And he says he's Muslim,
Yeah.
and
But
that's a
Okay.
very what Lonnie? My internet must be acting up today. It's kind of irritating me.
that was Jamie. Jamie said that must be tough.
Yeah, but here's the beauty of it. I don't teach out of the Quran. I teach out of the scriptures, out of the Bible. And I can navigate it in a way and testify to things that God does, not all of God. And I'll tell you this, in our session, I can tell you what I said, because this is very, very vague in general. I was testifying about something about, kind of like Tanya does sometimes. And I said, and this just came out. It was like the Spirit got a hold of my tongue and said, I want this said now. I said, Jehovah Rapha, Jehovah Jireh did that. And I was like, oh, he doesn't believe in Jehovah Rapha. He believes it's Allah God. But he heard it. See,
Mhm.
and that's,
Yep.
and she even, I'm not going to say that. It was in our consultation, but I'm just going to leave it out just to make sure I'm on the safe side. But anyway, they're good. He actually thought we were picking on him one day, and I had to help him out with that. So, but yeah, they seem really nice. But the last time I talked to Carissa, that girl, it was almost like somebody stuck a fire under her and lit her up. And I was like, whoa, that's not what I expected. This is great.
She
Yes.
she is, I mean, I don't know, she's my favorite for a reason. And she just sometimes the one thing that I thought was gonna be a challenge for you was understanding her when she becomes passionate. But then I was like, well, you're mid-south, so maybe that'll help you out. There are times we'll talk, sometimes I don't understand a word that's coming out. It's like she's speaking in tongues.
Yeah.
Given the interpretation.
Yeah. Well, they're an interesting couple. And
Oh yeah.
but anytime God puts somebody before me and crosses their path with me, I'm like, it's just, there's something that just wells up. I'm like, let's go. We got this. And sometimes, and I'm not one that any longer believes that God doesn't actually remove people out of marriages. I absolutely believe he does that now. I truly do. I believe Tanya's a great example. And I'm not saying this about Terry and Chris. I'm talking about just in general. Because Tanya was talking about Jacob, her son. That man would have never, ever, ever reached his purpose in that situation he was in. And I think God removed him out of there because, quite frankly, he was being abused. I don't know how I got on that or why that came out, but just think God's care about people's more than the law.
Right. Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
marriage is absolutely supposed to be permanent. So that has to be on the forefront. It's whatever it takes to keep this thing going. If it's not a Christian couple, I still tell them how to do it God's way because it works. Anyway, I get on my rolls, guys. Oh
yeah.
So, but yeah, so all of that to answer your question.
Hey, go ahead. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the superficial because I'm wondering, and I haven't had time to touch base with them. But my niece confides in me like I was her dad in a way, or like a good friend and confidant. I've been there in past relationships or kids' fathers, and she has literally cried on my shoulder. And I know the good girl that she is. I know the hardworking woman I know the loving mother that she is.
Yep.
And they just need that seed planted. All of us do. Just like we did. All of us do, to get them on focus and actually understand the outline, the blueprint that God has given, so that they can walk with that, because they already, both of them, possess they already just don't know it.
Yeah. Terry seems to be very genuine about her. I mean, he did some great stuff for her on Valentine's Day, and she was telling us all about it. So he seems like a pretty good dude. But obviously they're with me for a reason. But regardless of that, I appreciate the reference there. It's nice to have them on board.
Glad, and I thank you for that, because, like I said, we are, God calls us to help everyone, not just family. But there's something about, especially these days and times, as people fall as sinners, to where family has fallen to the wayside of true love and help for each other and everything. And as a family person, because of my family and what I've dealt with most of them, when I have a family member that means that much to me, just like anybody on this earth. But I really, really, truly love my niece and all the kids, and it's a good feeling to know that they're in good hands. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yep, absolutely. So, you guys going to be in Kentucky anytime soon? You coming down in May? Are you going to just tease me like that and then not show up, or how's that going to work?
No, I just need the info, brother.
Well, I'm trying to figure out if I should tell you the real date or tell you another date, just so I don't have to deal with you and your wisecracker comments, as you say. No. Hey,
I've got my duffel bag and I've got a backpack. But the backpack is for the wisecracks because it rhymes. So I'm bringing them.
All right, bring it. Hey, that comment you made early on about you're gorgeous, that just opened a door that you probably will never ever live down for the rest of your life. So bring it.
All right.
Bring it, baby.
I'll just add a little more to it, and it'll speak the whole pot.
Yeah, let's go. I'm in. So let me tell you this plant story. It's not really a story. It's from a comedian that I loved. Ended up dying of a heroin overdose in 2005, I think it was. But he had some, because Tanya talked about I let my plants die too, and I automatically thought about one of his bits. He said he had this really unique way of presenting it. Mitch Hedberg. I don't know if you've heard of him, but I can't watch his unedited videos. They're crazy.
Yeah.
I can only handle so much language. And he said, I saw this product on TV. It said, this is for your plants that are hard to reach. Now, who would make their plants hard to reach? And then he acted like he was having a conversation with the plants. I know you need water, but I put you where you're hard to reach. I hope they make a product before you shrivel and die. That's so stupid. It's hilarious.
Right.
I lost you again. My internet's bigging out. You're going in and out again, Lonnie. Yeah, I think I lost you.
Yeah. John, you have a blessed day. And
You guys
thank
too. You're welcome.
All right. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
In and
All
out.
right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.